that you didn't even realize that we already started.
Oh,
It's a very normal concept of a show. Which,
that's totally fun.
yeah. This is the I'm Jesse the Sorrow, and normally that's Dom the rapper, Dash the rapper, right next to me, but he's busy, so this week is Bryan the Duelist. How's it going? How's it going,
I am
Bryan the
Bryan the
Duelist?
Duelist.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything's
If
doing good.
yeah,
Everything's pretty good.
that's great because in this show where we just talk about video game news and stuff like that, I spent over a week trying to figure out what the hell am I gonna give you as a moniker, and instead of just using your online like constant IG or a TikTok and all this other stuff as mind the bun, which you've been known for honestly like 10 years now. Um, as I just figured Bryan the Duelist makes sense since like that's also a part of who you are. And
Yeah, yeah.
we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh all the time, so I figured you're the one only other person I know that still plays Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's a big thing in video games, so it makes sense, right? So
I
how
try. I try.
how do you feel about being called Bryan the Duelist? I'm just saying.
Honestly, it kind of sounds like I just been put into a tournament. So that
Ah,
actually
there you
sounds
go.
very cool. Like
Hell yeah,
a
brother.
little emblem. So
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
so
That's fine.
really epic.
That's great, Bryan. So, and when it comes to video games, I usually am one to say that I play a lot. Dom doesn't play a lot. Like he plays enough, and he usually brings out a little fact for me for video games. Or because he talks about tabletop, because we also talk about tabletop.
Okay.
And I usually try to catch him up on news and all this other stuff. And then lately, I don't know why my mic is dancing. Lately, you and I have been talking about how in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's been a new thing called overframe cards. Um,
Yes.
so overframe are if you know nothing about Pokemon, or if you know nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh, actually,
I
how
think
do
TCG in general, like
yeah, how do
just
I yeah, TCG in general, how do I explain this? So a Pokemon TCG has things called full art cards, which are like artworks of cards that take up the entire literally the entire card itself. uh
actually if you want to, you can also throw in Magic the Gathering. Look up Sephiroth full art. Like
oh yeah,
he,
that's also a big thing. Let's
yeah.
see, Sephiroth full art. Ooh,
There you
that's a little sexy right there. That's a little.
go.
We're just, I'm just pulling up random price. God, $58 for this one card. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, because of that art. Yeah,
The
and
price,
it's also another art in the back too, which
yeah,
is the second
yeah.
photo.
The pricing for these, sorry, the people watching didn't even know what I was cooking up just now. So basically, full art cards are is art that takes up the whole screen for a lot of this, and what tends to happen is that they're the most popular versions of these cards. So people want like obviously the very sexy Sephiroth. Oh, not that. That's not sexy Sephiroth. This is also sexy Sephiroth. The safer Sephiroth,
So
right?
yeah.
Um, so they become very popular, and is usually Magic the Gathering was kind of the one who did it first. They're kind of the granddaddy of them all. Um, and then Pokemon started doing them, and obviously you see a Charizard, and that's wildly expensive, and Pikachu, these full art cards. And for us, for a long time in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, we never got something like this, and it wasn't fair. So
Nope,
now
nope.
the past year or so, they've been debuting. At first, this is how they kind of started, like with Yu-Gi-Oh Rush, which is like a whole separate thing. It's like a faster version of playing it. If you played Yu-Gi-Oh, what's it called, Duel Links on the apps?
It's Duel Links. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of their mobile apps. Yeah.
yeah. There's a physical. It sounds ridiculous. If you played Yu-Gi-Oh as a child, there's a mobile app version of Yu-Gi-Oh that's faster, and it's I want to say it's closer to what you remember as a kid, but it is just like a way to get in and out because no matches take longer than like 7 minutes or something, right?
Yeah, I mean the way that it's broken down, you could imagine Duel Links as if you were watching like an animated duel because of it doesn't follow so much as the traditional rules because you're playing as the character themselves. You're not playing as like Bryan the Duelist. Like no, it's not me dueling. Like I would normally pick Jaden from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and he comes with his own special skill where at any point I could have polymerization into my hand. which is like
Hmm.
one of his like ace cards that he needs in order to, proceed with the duel. So
Yeah, right, exactly. So they
yeah,
have is that, and because it's like a faster pace, it's easier for casual people to get into. So that's that version of what we play, and then they made a physical version of that, but in Japan, and they call it Rush. And then these Rush cards have more of these what we would consider full arts, but over the years they started deciding like, no, well, now we're gonna have actual full art cards these days for the regular TCG and call them overframe cards, which
yep.
take up they break the frame of the card. Which honestly, that's a great name as a substitute, calling them overframes, because it already gives you the idea of what it's supposed to be.
It makes it sound more tough.
Yeah, yeah,
Overframe.
yeah,
You know who has a
overframe.
good overframe art? I'm not gonna lie. Out of all of them, like the best one I've seen so far was Gaga Magician. I don't think you'll
Really?
see him in this list. Yeah, look at his
Ga, ga, ga,
overframe
ga.
art and tell me that is not one
Magician.
of the toughest cards you have ever seen.
Let's see. Ga 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 overframe. That's
No, that's
Gaga
Gaga.
Girl.
No, that's Gaga Girl. Yeah.
Let's see. Gaga Magician Overframe. Oh, is it this guy?
Yes.
Oh, that looks crazy. What is that? There's a lot of these. Oh, I love the junk synchro. You showed me junk synchro before.
The junk synchro one was good, but the Gaga Magician, I'm like, you are punching
The
the
screen.
old.
You're
Yeah, I
punching
was
the
like, wow.
screen. That's crazy. That looks good. I'll give it that. It almost makes you want to try him out, but we know we're not gonna try him out.
Yeah,
You're a fusion
nah.
guy. I'm a
I'm a
synchro
fusion guy.
guy.
You're a synchro
We're
guy.
two different kind of guys. Oh my god, is this Pendulum Magician?
Yes,
That's
yeah,
beautiful. Ah, see, it makes it all worth it at the end.
yeah,
It makes it
of
all worth it
course.
at the end. Now, Brian, for a long time, because we play Yu-Gi-Oh all the time. We play Master Duel, which was their simulator, um, and along those lines, a lot of people remember a lot of the nostalgia for the stuff. So one of the big nostalgia things that came out this week was, as you know, is Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Yeah, that was a huge. Actually, I kept seeing it online like 2 weeks beforehand, and people were like,
Yeah,
"It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out." And I'm like, "There's no way." But lo and behold,
yeah.
it
It,
showed up in the Nintendo shop.
Yeah. Do you how do you feel? Because I made a TikTok about it. I just put out a YouTube video today talking about my opinions of re-releasing Fire Red and Leaf Green as they are, with no extra online features, minus the Pokemon Home compatibility that we're obviously gonna get. But how do you feel about them just like dumping the actual ROM on us for like $20?
I mean, look, like we've talked about this before. Like Pokemon is a very very like familiar, like one of the top, if not the top toy selling franchise ever. So there's always going to be fans of like from an old generation to the new generation. Like I mean, I'm even wearing a Pokemon sweater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for them to drop it and then like of course Nintendo knows people are gonna buy it, and especially for the fact that if it's gonna connect to home, they're gonna go for that nostalgia. But then on top of that too, at least now if we make that party, we could pull them out, bring them to the new generation. I mean, for anyone that missed out on like the DS when they had the old school games there. I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of like, hey, your second chance. And I actually I played Leaf Green, so I'm kind of excited for it, you
That's what I was
know.
gonna say. Out of the two, which ones did you buy? Like you had these originals, right? Like the
Actually, I didn't. If I can recall, one of my friends at the time, because my when I was playing the DS, I played Pokemon Diamond, but he had Leaf Green and had let me borrow it and let me completely wipe the memory so it could just be my story. And,
mm,
and then I was able to pull them out, like do that weird gimmick of like, since the DS had like the port in the bottom and the port on top for the DS games and the Game Boy Advance games in the bottom, I was able to pull out, my Leaf Green team. And yeah, it was very fun, very memorable. And yeah, I think I enjoyed it more because like the sprites were a lot colorful
hmm
and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. It's funny. My history with Fire Red and Leaf Green had always. I my whole history with Pokemon, the first three generations are always like each generation has its own big story, but specifically when it comes to Fire Red and Leaf Green, um, I I had bought Leaf Green, um, what because Leaf Green came out like what year was it actually? Because I can tell you
It,
how old that was actually when it came out.
wasn't this around the time where Gold and Silver was coming out?
No. Leaf Green are like
No, no,
the
Chris, no, my bad. Third generation.
yeah, they're the third generations. So it's at the same time that Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald
2004, I
came
want to
out.
say. Yep,
Yeah,
2004.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2004. So I was 14. So I imagine that it was like my mom had gotten it for me. My mom had bought it for me or something along those lines. I was like, yeah, 14, and I had Leaf Green, and then I got pretty far into it, and then like I finished it, everything of that sort. And then I had family members, semi-family members. They were like my sister's family. They would come over all the time, and then they stole it, and then that was a
Oh,
whole other thing. And so then I ended up getting it a second time, and the second time that I had it was when I had my original boys, my original Venusaur, Tyranitar, like all my guys, and I had them for a long time. And right before, I want to say like almost right before we moved, I lost that cartridge.
damn.
So a lot of those
R
OGs are not OG anymore.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But that was the first time also that I got into understanding competitiveness in Pokemon. Like my cousins would like have their team and we would play against each other. One of the craziest thing that's
Really?
ever happened to us was we did double battles because obviously you could do double battles and it was much more fun that way.
Right, right.
Was one of my cousins, he trained the Jolteon and I forgot the Jolteon partner was his Blastoise, and I was down to my last, and
Okay.
I forgot who I had at the time. He set it up with Rain Dance to follow it up with Thunder,
Thunder, because
right?
it's going to increase its chance of landing
At
because
the
rain dance is
time,
out.
even when you look at the manual and you look at the player strategy guide they had at the time, and when if you played Pokemon Stadium 2, in Pokemon Stadium 2 they had like a quiz thing that you can do to like test your
Okay.
knowledge. It was one of the questions on there, which is if you use the move Rain Dance, or if it's raining and a Pokemon uses Thunder, it's a guaranteed hit. Right?
Wow.
That was the text that was said. Now it was errata later down the line that it wasn't a guaranteed hit. It actually is a 99.9% chance it was gonna hit. And guess what happened? He missed. He couldn't believe that he missed, and he
What?
lost that match.
Wow.
And if,
Wait.
and that was
Wow.
the match that I have. That was like our tiebreaker, and that was the that was his loss.
That's
So I
crazy.
think it
He
was
loses
like
the 1%.
yeah, it was like 8-7. So that the finals ended up being like 8-7 or something like that. I never let him live it down that his Jolteon missed. So he can, he can suck a
He
fat one.
just he didn't give his Jolteon enough love. That's what it
Yeah, of
was.
course.
You know what I mean?
So to follow it up with the discussion, he didn't give him enough love.
Sorry. Yeah.
Did how do you feel about it being $20 though?
Hey, listen, it's a lot better than, spending 40 or 60, off of eBay or stuff like that too. I mean, again, there is that concept that, not telling you to do it, but if you're gonna yo ho ho and pirate out there, I mean, it's just gonna be stuck at whatever, like, whatever emulator you have it stuck on. At least now we have it officially on a Nintendo console. And I mean, for $20, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's crazy.
No,
I think that's fair. You know
see
what I mean?
this.
If
Mhm.
if by any chance if they do come out with like Heart Gold and like those things too, and they end up being $20 too, like that would be phenomenal. I
Yeah.
would love that too as well.
$20, these days with Nintendo pricing video games so insanely high. I think Mario Kart World's $80. And video games in this generation are $70 the standard, right? Um how like and it's already tough to try to convince people to buy a video game these days and make it worth it. Now you're
Right.
in a position like obviously like there's a lot of, as you get older, a lot of different kinds of responsibilities happen, and you work more, you have more disposable income and all the stuff. So I feel like I can very easily justify, in fact, and I did by buying both. I spent $40 and I bought both Fire Red and Leaf Green to be like,
Okay.
yeah,
See, now here's when it comes to my like I guess like my thing against Pokemon. I've always been the type to always buy one copy of like one of the games. I never bought both.
yeah,
I've never been the type to understand why people bought both,
mhm.
which is understandable. I'm not going to tell people what to do with their money, but essentially the way I see it is that like you're essentially buying the same game just different Pokemons, from my
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah,
You know
no,
what I
it's,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And I'm kind of in the more mindset of like, hey, if I know that Jesse bought Fire Red, then I'm gonna get a Leaf Green. You know, it's like there is some like incentive to like go with that whole like logic that they're like, oh, trade with your friends and stuff like that too, because I know he's gonna have exclusive,
right.
and then he's gonna know I have exclusive. You know what I mean? So
No,
I
right.
mean, and maybe I will admit, like some of my past Pokemon choices were kind of catered on the idea when like a new one was about to come out. I had to ask my friends, which one are you gonna get? So then I could purposely buy the opposite,
Mm.
because of it,
Yeah, yeah. No, Pokemon has
Yeah.
made its brand on two versions. It's so much so that other games have suffered this fate over the years. If you played Mega Man Battle Network, there's Blue Moon and Red Sun, and if you've played Metabots had one, which the Metabee version and the Rokuto version. There's always a split. Splits are always, they basically started this branding of two different versions for two separate reasons. And I think out of even inside of Pokemon, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to buy both. And I think the only time that I've ever purchased both was this, honestly, and because I'm on
Okay,
this,
that's fair.
I'm on the same boat as you, and only I would say only Scarlet and Violet, I would say, had even an ounce of a difference between the two. Of what's the actual, like, is there anything besides the roster between two that makes it worth it, or there's any actual differences here? Because in Scarlet and Violet, if you're playing Scarlet, the Pokemon that they present to you are Pokemon from the distant past,
Right.
like just they're technically a separate universe, but this is how Pokemon would have looked like in the distant past. And if
Right.
for Violet is in the what this would look like if they were in the super future, and then the professors were swapped. One had a male professor, the other one was female professor, but the story was still the same, except they were just your parent. They were the other parent. So,
Actually, I would like to retract everything I just said because I just realized I did purchase the duel for Diamond and Pearl, for Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl,
uh,
which I know everyone shits on, but
yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah.
that would I think same reason for you, more nostalgia, but even though it wasn't really so much of a well, I mean, I don't know if you want to call it a one for one,
Hmm.
but because like the graphics were better and well, the graphics got enhanced because it was on the Switch, but then like they
Yeah,
look cheapy versus like like making them like fully
yeah, full sized
uh
bodies.
yeah, full size, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. One of the biggest criticisms over the years for Pokemon was always, what is the point financially, not even just financially, but like, what is the incentive to buy both from a consumer's point of view?
to
And
be the very best like
well,
one that
yeah,
there was.
yeah, yeah, obviously, but I mean, it's funny that you even brought up Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, because they were the very first one to offer something if you bought both. And it was the when you first bought Diamond and Pearl, if you bought the double pack that it came out at that time, they came with pens. If you remember, it was different stylists with Dialga and Palkia on them, but that was it. From after that, what would happen if you bought both versions was a poster. GameStop would stiff you and give you a poster. That's it. That's all you ever got. So it didn't make a lot of sense. So,
Boo, GameStop, boo,
boo. So,
boo.
uh, as I was like, to go back to my earlier point, I feel like yes, I have disposable enough income. I'm an adult now more that I can purchase both and not care spend $40. But if you want to buy one version and it's $20. Now you have completely separate responsibilities than I do, right? Do you feel like it's more, I wouldn't say more affordable, but do you feel like you can justify $20? Obviously, who doesn't want it to be cheaper? But are you gonna feel that, like, do you feel the hit of $20 more than you do a $70
No,
purchase? No,
it's fine. No, it's
it
fine.
just
Honestly,
rolls off your back. It doesn't feel
yeah,
intrusive.
it's not as aggressive. And I think even like how much did it cost originally, like when it first came out? Like,
Yeah.
what, like 40?
Well, yeah, it was 40. Yes, Game Boy Advance games were $40 when they came out. But $40 if it was a first party title. This is how crazy Nintendo has always been. If they were first party titles, they were premium prices, $40. But if they were secondary, it was $30. And I remember that for the Game Boy. It was always insane. Always insane. They did the same thing for the DS.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I think they did the same thing for the GameCube.
The GameCube had $50 games and then like $30 games at launch too. Not like, oh, coming down the line. It was literally at launch. So speaking of back, I guess nostalgia. We'll keep it with the nostalgia theme. This is something that I saw that I thought you might find interesting. It is a translucent consoles. Do you know what the analog 3D is? Or yeah, the analog, is it called the analog 3D? Yeah, analog 3D. Yeah. Do you know what the analog 3D is?
I actually don't. Can you please fill me in?
So, there's been emulators for such a long time, right? Online emulators. What we tend to do now to kind of, how do I explain this in a way that makes sense to the average guy? One of the biggest problems with video games and video game companies is retro. Retro is an actual issue. Game preservation has always been an issue, right? Which is why they would dump a ROM of Fire Red and Leaf Green on us and be like, here's $20. But game preservation has always been an issue, but also console preservation has always been an issue. As technology has advanced so far, you would think that the pricing for making and printing older consoles would end up being very cheap. The cheaper materials, easier to produce, but it's obviously at a loss of diminishing returns. As a price, it's gonna, no matter how many 64s they sell these days, it can never really make sense of the cost of making it, shipping it, and stuff like that.
It doesn't justify the actual reason of making the product if it's
Right.
such a niche community or a niche like thing that people aren't gonna buy.
Yeah, and also Nintendo, any video game people, but Nintendo specifically, would want you to purchase the next thing, upgrade. So it's hard to think of a reason on why you would want to go back. But if nostalgic reasons are natural, like people these days, they want to go back to a time where they feel younger, or people who are younger go back and look through our eras, our millennial eras, our Y2K eras, and feel some form of nostalgia because times are tough and want to feel like, hey, I want to participate in it. I think that was really cool that you guys had that growing up, or I wish I had that they would go and try to buy it. And now you get, scalping. You get the physical copy of Fire Red and Leaf Green being $200, which makes it really tough, and which is why it needs to be printed and all this other stuff. So besides making emulators online, there have been companies who decided to fill that gap, that void, by creating physical emulators. Now, and this is not the bullshit physical emulators that you go to your 99-cent store and beg your mom for the fake PlayStation that you would see that's running Mario Brothers. It's like an actual emulator that would try to replicate them. And these guys, for a long time, there was a company that did it very well. Let me see if I can show you. This is something that I have purchased. This company is called Ambernick, and what they do is that they used to create controllers, but they make consoles. They make retro consoles. Um, so because they make retro consoles, see, this is kind of hard. One the things that they're really good at is the handheld ones. So they'll make handheld emulators for you to purchase. See, it looks like a Game Boy Advance because the form factor is there. It's easy to, you want to hold it and you want to dump a bunch of games that you legally own and put on there and have fun and enjoy it. So over time, look, they have an SP one and they're like decently priced and stuff like that. But the thing with emulation that is one of the biggest arguments about emulation in the first place is that people tend, because they don't spend any money, or when they emulate or they pirate it in other ways, they never get past the title screen of those games. They never actually complete those games. So, that's always been another argument. So now we're trying to see, as you can see, they've been moving slowly from handhelds to consoles. And one of the big ones is called the Analog 3D, which is literally like the one from the Nintendo 64. Now, what's great about this, honestly, is that it is modded in a way in which not only can you plug in your original controllers to play it, but it has like outputs. It has like an HDMI output that won't mess up the way it works. They won't, like, these days can't handle older retro consoles because they look a certain way and modern TVs make them look all fuzzy and stuff. Now they have a way to make it so that you could plug in an HDMI and you can do the scaling. There was another one that a guy that I followed that he purchased called a Retro Tink. Now this is the other alternative. A Retro Tink, this is like this was $700, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, this was $750. Now this is very different from what I was just describing. What I was describing before was an emulator. This is a video processor, one of the most advanced video processors for retro games. So basically it's $750, and the reason why it's so expensive is because you can hook up any of your old consoles to it. Any of your old consoles to it in any way whatsoever. Components it has an RX piece also. See, or you can't see it here, but I know it has an RX piece because he was playing with something else. And then it has optical in, optical out. You could hook it up to your TV. And one of the main differences and why it's so expensive is not only that it can do it for your retro consoles, but it has an entire menu system set up for you to do it on the fly, of changing resolutions, upscaling, adding scan lines. Even has recommended ways of it looking per game. They've done a lot of work to make it so it looks really good on TVs. So that's like the other avenue, or the other alternative from emulating. So now when you see the Analog 3D do something similar, because GameStop used to sell this, FYE used to sell something like this from 8-Bit Do, where you can like plug in your old games and like have it on the screen itself. How do you this is your first time ever seeing this. How do you feel about this?
I mean, it is kind of exciting, to be honest. I mean, I am an old school fan of like retro gaming and stuff. But again, I don't know personally if I would purchase it, because again, there's this like combat of that. Like, wasn't it not too long ago that the 64 no, that the Switch came out with the 64 like emulator itself.
Yeah.
But I can understand that like maybe there's just games that aren't going to show up there that you can play here as well too.
Yeah.
And no, I think it's cool. I mean, well, I was actually going to bring this up because I don't know if you could chime in this into the conversation, but I was under the presumption that they were also going to come out with a 64 mini. I don't know if you remember those minis.
This was yes. All right, here I got that. Actually, yes. This was
Yeah.
a long-standing rumor, and what happened is, I know you're gonna see me fucking dig a lot on this show. What happened is, what Brian's talking about is this. This is the Super Nintendo Mini. By the way, this is like almost $200 now.
Is it really?
Yes, and I got this for like 50 because my friend at the time worked at GameStop.
Same,
Um,
same, same. I got the
so
NES Mini and the SNES Mini.
so what? So you, as you can see, even the companies themselves understood that retro consoles were like on the rise, and it was something that like was being asked for by the fans and try to cater to them. So basically, what you're seeing here for the Super Nintendo, the mini, the SNES Mini, which was the second one because they had an NES Mini, um, is that this allows you. It comes with preloaded with 20 games, and it allows you to connect with USB C, right? USB C and HDMI, and it would come with two controllers that you could put here. Now, the two controllers that it would come with has an adapter that was similar to the Wii, right? Because why? Around this time that this came out, the Wii and the Wii U were out, and because the Wii and the Wii U were out, there was Super Nintendo games on the Virtual Console. So if you got the controllers, which I have right here, bring your ass out, bitch. Whatever. I have the controller here. You can see the controller here. The end. So it's a Super Nintendo controller. It feels exactly like a Super Nintendo controller because it is. The Nintendo, like Nintendo put this out, not another company. Nintendo put this out. On the other end of the controller, the port is the port to connect to a Wii remote. You know, so they were thinking about this. They did it for the NES. They did it for the SNES, and they did it for the PlayStation 1. They did a PS
And I believe the Sega Saturn.
Oh, and the Saturn. So, and they were preloaded with games that people wanted to play again at a higher resolution on their TVs.
On their flat screen. Yep.
But there was a big problem. They were preloaded. They were said these are classic games, and there are games that are considered classic on those consoles that are third party. Like the PS1, like I believe the PS1 Mini did not have Final Fantasy VII on it. You know, stuff like that.
I don't think so either. No.
Right. So this one that I just showed, the Super Nintendo Mini, had a lot of games, but there was obviously a bunch of them. And even when you're a child now. Let's say you're a kid now, or you're a kid now, and you're growing up with having a Switch, right? There may or may not be moments in your time as a kid playing the Switch where you only have $20 that your dad gives you. You go to the eShop and you try to make those $20 work, and what happens? You find some jank game that you end up loving. And that is our love in every single like generation for every single console.
I think I got a beautiful example. My opinion would be, and especially going back to that like that scenario, you're a kid, you know, your parents don't know so much about video games, but what are they gonna buy for you the first couple of games? They're gonna be games based off what?
Major IPs. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like
Pokemon. Or, yeah, Zelda.
well, I was gonna say even before Pokemon.
Well,
I'm thinking more of that, like if you're a kid and your parent doesn't know what game to buy you, you're more than likely going to get a Disney game.
Oh
or a
yeah,
game
yeah, yeah.
based off a movie,
Right.
And I'm talking about
yes.
that. I'm talking about that because even for, I don't know if it was the SNES or the SNES, one of the what people consider a classic game wasn't the Lion King,
Yeah.
but because of also how hard that game was, you know.
Yeah, the SNES. Yes, you're right. They would purchase something that is recognizable to the parent, which would be a movie tie-in game or a Disney game. So yes, they had this SNES had Aladdin, so did the Saturn, and it had different soundtracks because of the chipset. Aladdin, The Lion King, Tarzan. They had all these games. My first Game Boy Color game. Like the first time I ever got a Game Boy Color, my very first game. You go ahead, just think. You know me for a long time. There's no way you're gonna guess what my first Game Boy Color game was. In fact, I still have it here.
Well, I mean, I can't see you, so I'm not gonna be able to see what it is. But
Here.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm assuming it's gonna be based off a popular IP, right?
Yes, it is based off of popular IP.
Does that have to do anything with Disney?
Look, you're getting closer and closer.
Something with like Mickey Mouse.
No, that's too far.
That's too far. But definitely something Disney, like from a Disney
Yes,
movie, I'm assuming.
yes, from a Disney movie.
I mean,
More,
have you?
I would say it's considered Disney now.
It's considered Disney now. Was it not considered Disney before?
I think at some point it wasn't. I gotta look this up
Okay,
again.
you just gotta let me know what it is. It's like no,
Shit.
no.
My very first Game Boy Color game, which you're gonna be able to see. You know what? Actually, Brian, if you need to see my camera, I guess you could just pull it up on Twitch on your phone, and
All
then
right,
you'll be
let's
able to
see.
see it. Yeah, I'll send you the link real quick.
I could check to my phone. All right, let's see. Actually, speaking of which, well, I can see you now.
Okay, okay.
But
All right, cool. I ended up texting it to you anyways. But yeah.
okay.
So the very first Game Boy Color game that I have ever owned. I'm gonna see if you could read it here. It's gonna take a minute. Can you see it? It feels like it's fucked up. Hold on.
Nah, it froze.
I gotta do the fucking. Oh my god! Look at the
Oh,
makeup.
wait. Huh. Oh, Buzz Lightyear?
Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
Buzz Lightyear Star
What? That
Command.
was my very first Game Boy Color game.
That's so funny.
It's so weird. I wouldn't say weird, but I completely forgot about this entire thought process of buying these things back in the day. That if you're a parent buying these consoles for your kid, you go with safe bets, like things
Right.
that you recognize. Because my first Game Boy game was, like with most people, was Tetris, because it came with the Game Boy. And
Right. Which
my
is one of the most top selling games.
yeah,
Fun
and
fact.
my first Game Boy Advance game, you're gonna be surprised for this one, which I don't have. Uh, Lego Island 2.
Really, my
Yes.
first Game Boy Advance game,
Yeah.
I believe it was Rugrats.
There you go. See, there you go.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon.
Again, and it was just a matter because like it's an IP that like my mom was already familiar with me consuming, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So and it's funny to think about it that way. Because although I've known Bryan for a very long time. We are about 4 years apart, and because we are 4 years apart, we there's enough things that like is different between the both of us that we're not, uh, you know, nostalgia hits us in different ways sometimes between Bryan and I. So I wanted to show Bryan something that I had an idea for when the podcast started.
Okay.
This game debuted the same year you were born. Can you believe that?
Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong Country. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country for the SNES. Speaking of it, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I had issues last time. For the SNES was the very first. It was that. I just typed in like most popular games to come out at that time in 1994. Donkey Kong Country, Final Fantasy VI, and Super Metroid were one of the three biggest titles to come out in 1994. And I feel like Donkey Kong Country was very fitting for the conversation. One of the best Donkey Kong Country games of all time.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, even though like I didn't personally grow up watching it, I mean, there are obviously a lot of inspirations from a game that I do have very nostalgia for, and it's actually speaking of which, wrapping it around to the 64, what was the most popular Donkey Kong game on the 64?
Donkey Kong 64, right? No. Yeah.
Exactly. And like that's my nostalgia behind it.
Did you ever watch the TV show?
This is a TV show?
What? You don't know about the Donkey Kong TV show? Oh,
I know about the Super Mario TV show.
Hell yeah, brother!
Sonic TV. I didn't know there was a Donkey Kong.
It's around the same. It's around the same time. It's around the same time. Oh, hold on, I can't. That's somebody else's YouTube video. Hold on. I gotta switch the OBS. There you go. It was called the Donkey Kong Country TV show.
Wait, is this where like a lot of the cursed images come from? What? Yep.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I used to watch this on TV. You thought what? You thought somebody was like just making this?
Bro, what? Donkey Kong's Booty, that's where it came from. I had no idea this existed.
Yeah.
What was this on?
It was on Fox, I believe.
Really?
Let me look it up.
It looks like a Fox program.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country TV show.
So funny.
Let's see. Put Donkey Kong. It was on Cartoon Network? No, I think I clicked on something different. My bad for a second. It's hard to see. Production. Teletoon in France. It must have been like Fox or some weird ass channel for like a bit. Yeah.
That's so wow. 20 wow, they had 40 episodes.
Yeah. I have two full seasons of this cartoon. There was a lot of really bad cartoons at that time. You can watch it on Tubi right now for free.
I might do that. I might do that later.
There were a lot of bad cartoons that came out at this time. Like, you ever see Max Steel?
Yes. I remember Max Steel. I remember like
Cubics, Robots for Everyone.
Yep. That weird looking CGI. Yep.
God, what an era of garbage cartoons for kids.
But you know what it was is that they thought because they look 3D and not like 2-dimensional, like, oh, this is gonna be so cool, and like, you know, everyone's, but like they ended up creating was that like that lifeless looking, like there's no soul in their eyes kind of like animation.
It's so bad.
And I think it's funny because I think did you see the Chip and Dale movie on Disney Plus, like that new one?
No, I heard really good things about it though.
It is very good. There's actually a segment where they make fun of this specific animation, where they're like, "Yo, it's that weird early 2000s CGI animation where like you can't tell where they're looking at. They're just soulless." That's where I'm getting that. That's where I'm getting that quote from.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow, that's very insightful of them.
It's so good.
But around the time of watching like the Donkey Kong Country TV show, you know, we had Mario, we had Sonic, we had like everybody had a cartoon show. But like the best cartoon shows were like the really weird ones, like Sherlock Holmes from the 22nd century, or Mummies Alive, you know, stuff like that. I
remember Mummies Alive.
These are all great horrible shows, which is a lost art in cartoons these days. To be honest.
No, without a doubt. Well, I mean, yeah, because most cartoons now they need to have like a plot hole and stuff like that too, versus like just a random like give me 15 minutes of just like chaotic like chaos.
Yeah. My God, Brian, I'm about to show you. We're going to end the show on one of the craziest news to have come out in the moments. And we're going to have a live reaction here that we've had in a long time. I know now I see what this is about, and I cannot wait to see our reaction to this, honestly. So just give me 1 second. This literally broke minutes before we started. Oh my God, I can't believe they're fucking doing this.
Oh, wow.
They're bringing... rollback netcode is crazy. Captain America and the Avengers, bro. I haven't played this game since I was like 8.
That's
tough. My God. This is crazy. They're 8-bit at 16. And Brian, one of my favorite garbage games of all time is on here. Spider-Man and the X-Men. This game is so horrendously bad, but I love it. Oh, Maximum Carnage. I'm gonna nut. This is awesome. These are my favorite beat 'em ups. Oh my God. I am going crazy right now. Oh my God. I never played this, the Silver Surfer one. This is crazy.
Wow.
They have that's the Genesis box art for separation anxiety.
Right.
The Maximum Collection on Switch, PS5, Xbox
PS5,
Series
Xbox,
X.
and Steam. And you can wishlist this. That's crazy.
Bro, what? I can't believe we're getting this. This is insane.
Wow, that's cool.
This is genuinely crazy to me. Bro, when I tell you, see, I didn't really grow up playing X-Men the arcade,
Okay.
because there wasn't a lot of because we grew up in the same neighborhood. There's not a lot of arcade machines where we grew up. It was all in pizza joints.
I think the most, yeah, and I think they kind of stuck with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it kind of fell in par with the theme.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't really so familiar with this X-Men. I didn't know they had an X-Men beat 'em up like that.
You never seen X-Men the arcade game?
Not like that. No, actually. That's why I'm like, this actually looks cool.
Oh yeah, so X-Men. I'll give you a little brief history to some of these games. We'll go through these real quick because this will also make a great YouTube video. I'm not gonna lie. Well, first off, it's limited run. Limited run. They're not a great company for physical copies of games. I bought my girlfriend Persona 4 Golden physical when they re-released it like recently. I bought it pre-ordered the huge edition, the one with the TV. Took 2 years to get here.
Wow.
That's just how they are. But when they publish things, it's easier and it's fine. But the physical development is horrendous. It's terrible. So X-Men the arcade is extremely popular. It's always been extremely popular in big arcades because it is like this Ninja Turtles and the Simpsons are all 5 to 6 players. It's a big,
Right.
They're big machines, so everybody can hop on. You get to play as your favorite X-Men. You get to, like enjoy. You get to beat Magneto. It's very early 90s. I can't believe it. That's like, of all the beat 'em ups, that's the most famous one for a lot of older nostalgic people. I know people who we know, like older friends of ours who are older than us, they're gonna go crazy seeing that.
Right.
Captain America and the Avengers. I played this. I think it was for the Sega CD. I played this at like, it wasn't even a friend's house. It's that thing that your mom does when you're like it's funny because things are similar with us, but not so similar. Bryan and I have had a running joke for 10 years now that we're the same person from different alternate universes. So things line up in very odd ways for us. So I grew up as an only child, and it was yes and no for you. For you, like you had siblings, but they were older, so you had like certain advantages. So when you're an only child, your parent tends to do this thing with you that they try to make you have friends with other people they just randomly know, like from the area. It's like, oh, you have a kid too, let's make them friends. So it was I don't even know whose house this was. We were like in Forest Hills somewhere. It was far, and they had a Sega CD, and I played this, and I was like, oh, this game is like super cool. You play as Captain America. I think these are the Game Boy versions, because the one that I remember
Of course. The way that those graphics look.
Yeah, this is the one that I remember more. You get to pick Iron Man, Hawkeye, Captain America, and I can't remember who the fourth guy was. It looks like it's Vision. Yeah, I think that's Vision. And it's a beat 'em up. It was Captain America's beat 'em up. It was crazy. But Bryan, I cannot believe I am going fucking wild. Spider-Man and the X-Men Arcade's Revenge is such a bad game. It's such a horrendously bad game. And it is because this is in the 90s when we had the Spider-Man cartoon show, the X-Men cartoon show. They did there's 2 to 3 episodes where they actually crossed over, because Peter thought Peter was like going through a transformation, and he didn't know what to do. He was growing extra arms, and he went to the Xavier school, and they're like, are you a mutant now? He goes, I don't think so. Whatever, it's crazy. So there was a lot of crossovers. This game is bad. You play as Spider-Man for the first the intro level, and then you and the X-Men get stuck in another X-Men, in an X-Men's villains game, because his name is Arcade, and he would put people in video games. So he would stick everybody into a video game, and it's a bad video game. The game is bad, bro. When you play it, you're like, wow, this game is trash. But it's so nostalgic to me. Maximum Carnage and Separation Anxiety are Spider-Man's 2 beat-em-up games that we never got any other release ever again. They are Super Nintendo and Sega games. right? And and they follow the story of Maximum Carnage, the comic book line. And what was really cool, besides the soundtrack, was the fact that every level had a cutscene, and the cutscenes were comic book panels of that storyline. So you're
Oh,
reading the
that's pretty sick.
comic of Maximum Carnage, like while you're playing the game.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
so the first one, Maximum Carnage, is part one, and you only play as either Spider-Man or Venom, and it's not two players. It sounds stupid. You would think it's two players, but it's not two players, right? But Separation Anxiety is the continuation of that story, and you get to play as Spider-Man and Venom. It is two players, and you're fighting against all of the Carnage children. So you fight Poison, you fight Fury, you fight all the Carnage, like all the different
Right.
Carnages.
Right.
Um, and yeah, it's they're fun. These are the fun games. They're so fun because they're beat 'em ups.
Right.
I've never played Silver Surfer. I have no idea what the fuck this is. I maybe have heard of it once, but it's so cool that they have the museum. See, this is arcade. Look at the
Yeah.
art, bro.
That's
Wo-
just Stream's 90s.
Wolverine looks fucking crazy. And this art right here for Separation Anxiety, I feel like this is on the back of the box of Separation Anxiety.
Right.
On the Super Nintendo and the Genesis box is on the very back of it, because I remember this ugly ass Venom and this fucking chud of a Spider-Man there, you know?
Yeah.
But bro, I can't believe they announced this and that's what we're getting. Like, wow. Wow, what a surprise. What a last minute surprise, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's honestly pretty sick, you know?
Oh my god. Well, Bryan, I can't tell you enough, but thank you for joining me and watching me go crazy over this.
Oh yeah, no, of course. You'll love to hear it, you know?
Yeah. So as you know, this is the Sorrow and the Rapper podcast. My co-host, the rapper, is normally not here, but that doesn't mean I don't get to plug his things. You can follow me on not that the show is ending here, but you can follow me on Twitter at Sorrow with 3 R's with the underscore at the end. My Twitch is right here, the Sorrow with 3 R's underscore at the end. My YouTube channel is Sorrow with 3 R's and an underscore at the end. Dom's is his Twitter is Zendash. His Instagram is Zendash Official. Go to his music profile on anything. Listen to his music. He has albums out. It's great listen. This is Bryan the Duelist, aka Mind of Bun, on Instagram, on TikTok. Follow him if you'd like. Send him my way, send him your way, whatever it may be. So it'd be great. So thanks again, Bryan. Really, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you
Of
helping
course,
me with
all
this.
exciting without a doubt.
Yeah. So check it out. Thanks. Don't forget to subscribe. Destroy the like button. Fucking uppercut it. Do what you need to do. And thank you so much. See you next time.